This is the new Tab 90 Wi-Fi from Blackview. Blackview did send me this device for the purposes of reviewing on this channel, but they didn't have any input in the review itself, so rest assured my thoughts are indeed my own. In the box we have the device itself, and also the charging cable and brick, you know, the stuff that the most expensive devices tend to no longer come with. And it has micro SD expansion as well. The overall build of the device is almost entirely plastic, which is to be expected at this price point, and it's a bit of a fingerprint and smudge magnet. Durability wise, it feels solid enough though, and I did actually give a couple test bends to see if it would bend and seemed to do alright. It comes in at 540 grams, which is just over a pound. The chipset on the Tab 90 Wi-Fi is going to be the Unisoc Tiger T606, which obviously is a budget-focused chip and seems to be roughly similar to the Snapdragon 680 for comparison. This chipset does support up to UFS 2.1, which means file transfers shouldn't be too painful. The biggest thing for me in terms of this chip's performance comes down to things like gesture navigation. It can definitely feel like you have to put a couple inputs in for it to really respond the way you want it to, and even then it can be kind of slow when it does decide to respond. In terms of what the chip will realistically be able to do, I'll get more into that in the gaming section. The screen on this device is pretty on par with what I expected, coming in at 1280 by 800 with a 10.92 inch display. It's obviously not OLED, but having grown up most of my life without those fancier screens, I wasn't too shocked or anything like that. You can see the individual pixels if you're focusing on it, but the feeling fades if I'm focused on the content itself. Battery life has been pretty superb, and the combo of the larger battery and more tame chip means this is lasting me basically all week on a single charge, given that I don't binge gaming all day every day. Charging speed isn't incredibly quick, but this seems to be the kind of device you can charge overnight, maybe once or twice a week, and be pretty happy with. This actually brings me into my favorite part of this review and the part that I was most curious about for this tablet. I'm not a gamer in the sense of playing tons of competitive online games, but more so in emulating my favorite games growing up during the 2000s. I easily spent over 1,000 hours of my childhood playing the 3rd gen Pokemon games, including Fire Red and Emerald. So naturally, it's one of my favorite eras to emulate. Aside from Game Boy, the PS2 and PSP were where I spent the rest of my time gaming when I was growing up. Being that this is an entry-level device, I understood that PS2 emulation was pretty much out of the question, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that Gran Turismo on PSP gave an incredibly playable experience. I did have to turn the graphics down to native PSP dimensions, but honestly, this was much better than I expected. DS and 3DS was another big one for me, but sadly it seems that's just a little too heavy for this chipset.
Even when I'm not with you, I'm with you. Sun up, sun down. We hold up to it for our life to begin, 'cause we're already standing out on the runway. Open up your heart and let it catch the wind. Just reach out and take my hand, nothing in our way. 'Cause even when I'm not with you, I'm with you. Sun up, sun down. We hold up to it for our life to begin, 'cause we're already standing out on the runway. Open up your heart and let it catch the wind. Just reach out and take my hand, nothing in our way.
I'm no audiophile, but the headphone jack here serves its purpose in my opinion. As long as your headphones can be driven by a normal phone, I think you'll be happy here. There's also an auto-transcribing feature that's built into the device that can try and subtitle whatever audio is coming through that works decently well. With basic video dialogue, I'd say it's better to have than not have, but it probably won't be keeping up with any Eminem lyrics. As for taking photos with this device, I don't really have too much to comment on. It's pretty much as you would expect. Same goes for things like video calls. It does get the job done, but I wouldn't say it's this device's ideal use case. They're a fantastic experience, but I mean, if you're going to be calling someone on here, you can see. You can probably hear me. I hope the audio is pretty alright. I do have some pretty favorable lighting on my face there. Otherwise, this is about what we're going to look like. It works. I don't know if I could expect much more than that. There's a pretty nifty PC mode as well, which does its best to mimic a more desktop tile experience, and I was able to hook up my wired keyboard and a wireless mouse, and it felt pretty good overall. I also had someone ask me whether this would be a good option as sort of an entry-level drawing tablet, and I think with some more basic stuff it would be pretty okay, but I think in terms of the more advanced stuff, I'm no artist myself, so I can't comment 100% and even though I'm not an artist, I'm pretty confident in saying that it probably won't be able to handle some of the kind of heavier drawing tasks that people may be looking for. Alright, so I just wanted to sit down for a minute here and just kind of run through the tablet as if you're using it like normal, so you can get an idea of how things kind of just look and feel going through the normal kind of motions here. I expect a lot of people are probably going to be using this as a more dedicated kind of content consumption thing. That's what I think is probably going to be the best here. So you can kind of go through here. I do think it'd be pretty good as a kind of bedtime kind of tablet. I usually keep it in bed with me and just watch videos and stuff like that. So you can do all of that. Again, it's not like the most fluid kind of interface here, but I really don't think it's like egregiously bad or anything like that. Fun little quirk that I realized is that you can't do the pull down menu here if you're touching the kind of widget here. I think this is the native clock widget there, but if you go to any other page, it works fine just like it should. So yeah, just a fun little quirk there. You can go into all of your settings here. You've got tons of settings and all of that. Let's see, anything fun here? I thought there was there's a fun little thing too. There we go, probably here. Speaker cleaning. Oh wait, hold on. Speaker cleaning with two N's, as you do. And you can do something like this. Alright, goodness. So just be aware that that will not stop for 30 seconds. You've also got, like I showed earlier, you've got the PC mode here, which is quite actually useful to hook up a kind of mouse, keyboard, all that good stuff. Use it as a more PC style thing here. And so yeah, and then like I said, gaming is actually pretty decent on here, I would say. So you've got your PSP stuff. I've got my Gran Turismo on there. We've got my Boy thing here. We've got the Pokemon. Just like so, just jump right in. So yeah. And if you come into the settings down here, in order to access the extended RAM feature, the way that you're going to do that is come into the About tablet section down here, and even though all of these things are not tappable, if you actually tap the RAM option there, that is where you get access to be able to use your internal storage to kind of, I mean, there you go, it explains it right there, to technically expand the kind of usable RAM right there like that. This is the first tablet style device that I've ever used, so admittedly I don't have much to directly compare it to, but with that said, I do think overall that this was a pretty good device here, especially considering the price point of it. I think the best use case for this tablet here is going to be more so as like a dedicated kind of content consumption device, so like YouTube, movies as well with the SD card. Or if you happen to have some young ones around as well, I think it could be a good dedicated device for them to watch, you know, their kid shows and stuff like that. As I also alluded to earlier, I think it could be a really good kind of dedicated emulating machine as well. Just hook up a wireless controller and focus on maybe like the Game Boy Advanced era, stuff like that. Because things like 3DS and PS2 are just a little bit too much for that chipset. So let me know what you think down below. Is this a device that you would be interested in trying out? And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great week, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.